Hello, my name is Alyne and I don't want kids. You'll regret it. That is so sad and selfish. You'll end up an old maid. You're so young. You'll change your mind. Just wait till that biological clock kicks in. But
I feel like everyone loves using the biological clock thing. If you're a woman, you have a biological clock, and it's only a matter of time before every single woman in the entire world is going to want to have a baby. Or not. Every single one of those things has been said to me, except no one's actually ever told me that I'm going to be an old maid, but people have said you're going to be all alone when you're old, so I feel like that's probably just a nicer way of saying you're going to be an old maid. Hi, and welcome to the channel. I'm Hannah, the wife without kids. This channel is a positive and non-judgmental community to support you in your choice to live the child-free life. Oh, also a quick housekeeping item. I think my hair is having a growth spurt because I have all these flyaways constantly. I notice them every time I do a video. I thought I've like plastered them all down on my head, and then I go to edit the video and they're like everywhere. So if you're looking at me and you're like, why doesn't this lady like take care of her flyaways? I try, I really try, but there's always more. So you'll just have to ignore pretty much this whole part of me right now.
But the years passed. I turned 20, 30, and nothing changed. I still don't want kids. But that doesn't seem to matter. My boyfriend wants me to have kids. My mom wants me to have kids. Literally strangers want me to have kids.
I can't imagine dating somebody that wants kids if I don't want kids. When my husband and I were dating, I definitely made sure that he knew I did not want to have kids. And he was totally fine with it. But I feel this is kind of strange because if you're dating somebody that wants kids, isn't that going to be a huge point of conflict at some point? It does totally make sense that her mom wants her to have kids because I feel like lots of moms want their daughters to have children.
You'll love it! Kids, 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 kids! It seemed like the whole world expected me to have a baby, whether I wanted to or not. And it turns out it's not just me. 1 in 5 women in the US won't have kids. More and more people are choosing to be child-free.
Things are looking up for us child-free community. 1 in 5, that's pretty good odds.
What are the reasons why? Income and education. Studies show that the more money a woman makes, the more education she gets, the lower the chance she'll choose to have kids.
I decided to not have kids because I really want to focus on my career.
I feel like that's very relatable because I spent a lot of time, effort, and energy on my education, and there is absolutely no way that after I graduated that I wanted to start having children. First off, I had student loans to pay off, and then secondly, I just wanted to enjoy my career. And I know not every single child-free person is a career person, and that's totally fine. You don't have to be. Again, not the reason I didn't have kids because I just don't want to be a mom. But it's understandable that some people don't want to have kids because of that reason.
Happiness. Over 20 studies have shown the quality of marriage decreases once a couple has kids. So more couples are choosing to stay married but not add kids to their family.
I feel like that's a really unpopular thing to say, but I have actually seen studies that show that exact same thing, that the average happiness for a couple that doesn't have kids is actually higher than the happiness of a couple that does have kids. I've kind of thought of making a video about that. I'm not sure if I will. You know, who's happier, child-free couples or parents? Because I feel like no one likes to be told, oh, well, you're not as happy as me. So I'm not really sure if I'll make a video out of it, but it could be an interesting one, maybe for some time in the future.
The environment.
Our planet is already dying.
People care about it more and more, so they become vegetarian, fly less, and live car-free. And the #1 way to reduce your carbon footprint is to not have kids.
I did a react video to a guy that talks about this exact thing. If you want to check it out, it will appear right up here. I cannot imagine my life without a car. I don't live in a place where there's, okay, no, there is a city bus, but it's gonna take you a really long time, probably like 3 times as long to get anywhere. I feel like if you live in a really big city and public transit is like the way that people get around the city, then it's perfect and you don't really have to have a car. But in places that are a little bit more rural or where bus schedules aren't as frequent, I think it's really hard to not have a car. There's no way that I could depend on a bus system to get things done. It would be extremely inefficient. And because of the pandemic, I haven't flown on a plane in quite some time, but I'm itching. I am itching as things open up to get back somewhere and go on a trip. It's a little early for where I live. I can't quite get on a plane and go traveling yet. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to fly somewhere. Should I not be saying that when we're literally talking about not having kids to help save the environment? But I am a vegetarian, so I feel like I do my part there.
Fertility.
I have a little brain tumor that messes with my hormones, so for me, it's a big maybe.
Some women would actually love to have kids, but they can't.
So I tried, had several miscarriages. Turns out doctor said I can never have children.
It's getting harder and harder to get pregnant. In fact, the US fertility rate is lower than ever in history.
I really feel for women who want to have babies and can't have them. And I've said this before in other videos. If I could take my reproductive system and give it to a woman that really wanted kids and wasn't able to have them, I would do it in a heartbeat, because I can't imagine the difficulty, the agony, the disappointment, and the struggle that you would have wanting to be a parent and not being able to do that biologically. Obviously, there are other ways that people can have kids. I mean, not everyone wants to do those other things, but they are options.
So, why don't you want kids?
You know, sometimes I wish that I did want kids. I feel like my life would be a lot easier, but I also think it's just as valid to not want to have kids. If you're a woman, you're taking on all the work, physical, mental work, and if I was a guy, maybe I'd have kids. Even if you have a great partner, it's ultimately on me as the woman. Bottom line, I've never had the maternal urge to have a kid, and I want to be a mom in a different way.
I'm in the exact same spot. I have never had the maternal urge to be a mother to a child, ever. I'm a little maternal to my cats, but mostly I like cats because they're independent and they pretty much leave me alone for most of the day, which I kind of like. Or if they come cuddle, it's just for like a few minutes and then they're off doing their own thing. I just feel like that fits my personality really, really well. And it is true, the woman does end up doing the bulk of the work.
And if you're simply not sure, that's okay, because these days there are more options than ever, like freezing your eggs.
I'm 33 and I froze my eggs because I haven't found the person that I want to have kids with yet, and if it ends up being a couple years down the line and we have any trouble getting pregnant, I wanted to have a little bit of backup.
I think that's a smart idea for women to do that are kind of on the fence or that want kids and haven't met somebody yet, because then it sort of ensures that you will be able to have biological kids if that's really what you desire. I've had people ask me before if I froze my eggs just in case I changed my mind, and my answer is a resounding no. I knew I didn't want kids and I just made that decision. I am not going to freeze my eggs, and that's just it. It's very final in my mind that I'm not having kids. There's no like wiggle room for, oh, what if I change my mind, because I just don't think that's going to happen. It can be fairly pricey in Canada to have your eggs extracted and then pay a fee to have them frozen for who knows how long until you wanted them. And if I was already pretty sure that I didn't want to have kids, to me it just seemed like it wasn't a good use of money. I'd rather buy an extra purse or a nice pair of shoes or a treat for my cats, or do the responsible thing and pay a little extra towards our mortgage.
Adopting.
My mom and dad couldn't have their own kids, so they adopted us. And because of that, they gave us the best life that we could ever have.
I think it would take a very devoted and patient individual to open their home and to give those kids the amazing life that they otherwise wouldn't be able to have. And I hold people who adopt kids in very high regard. I know several families that have adopted kids, and you know, things aren't always easy when you adopt someone else's kids. And they have gone through a lot of struggles. Even through the struggles, they stick it out and they just love those kids the way that no one has ever loved them. I think that's incredibly special.
Or being a mother in a different way. So please, stop asking us, when are you gonna have kids? And start asking us, what are you working on in life? Because the world is not black or white. It's not kids equals good, no kids equals evil. Everyone's situation is different. So what's right for you might not be what's right for them.
I do find that a lot of the terms that are used to describe child-free people can be negative. There's sort of this idea that child-free is like bad, but then if you have kids and you're a parent, then that's a good thing. And I really don't think it's that black and white. You can have parents that are, let's be honest, not good parents, and you can have child-free people that are, let's be honest, not good people. So I don't think that having kids determines whether or not you're a good person or you're a bad person. It's just different people are going to want different things and they're going to make different choices. And I think both of those choices should be equally respected because they're both equally valuable.
Now, with all of these new options, for many women, the world is going from black and white to colorful. And whatever your choice, to have many kids or none at all, make sure it's you choosing it and not society choosing for you.
This is 100% true. Having kids has to be your choice, or not having kids has to be 100% your choice. Don't make the choice to have kids just because you'll feel that you're not as accepted by society if you don't have kids. As more people make the choice to not have kids and talk about it, it will change the narrative, and people won't see it as such a negative thing. It will be more accepted. I have absolute faith in that. Now, whether or not that happens in my lifetime, I'm not so sure, but you know what? I'm trying to do my part. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are never alone, and I will see you next week.